Okay, let's do this. Module 3, we are looking at ads mapping. So going back to that idea of the hierarchy and the way that Facebook allows us to build our campaigns and how they've structured it, as well as the strategy that we need to implement in order to get through that structure really effectively. So the structure or the campaign hierarchy looks like this. At the top level, it's the campaign level. And this is where we simply name and determine our objective. What do we want to achieve? More on this in a minute. Then we're bumped immediately to the ad set level. This is where people get a little bit daunted, and it is so not difficult because we've already built our audiences and we know exactly who this campaign is for. So we determine our audience, our placements on which platforms and which features within those platforms, and then budget and schedule, how long we want that to run. And we can have multiple ad sets in the same campaign, which allows us to A/B test or, of course, achieve our goals with different ads on the end. Speaking of, we're then bumped to the actual ad. This is the creative, the juice, the images, video, text, calls to action that people are going to physically see in their digital places, and the place where we're going to turn off and turn up the ads that are working really well. So we'll get there as it leads us down the garden path. If you're in the ad creation view, it's kind of on the left side like this. If you're in ads manager view, so you go back in to see how your campaigns are performing, you're bumped along kind of in a linear or horizontal fashion, but you'll figure it out. Just always know that one tab or one step leads to the next, and that if you're always aware of what happens at the campaign level versus the ad set level versus the ads level, you're okay. You know where to go to adjust which piece. So that first step, campaign objectives. Basically, we have to ask ourselves, what do we want to achieve here? And that's where we get to decide on what the objective is. Why this matters is because Facebook will optimize our ads based on the best results that we're going to get for that objective, or who is going to most resonate with our ad if that is our goal. So if I want to drive traffic, and that's my objective, I want to get people to my website, it's going to serve up that ad, supposedly, to people who are most likely to click on the ad and get to my website. The bottom one there, store traffic. If that's my objective, I want people in my store, Facebook says that they will serve up the ad to the people most likely to visit our physical stores when they're near them. If we want a little bit more information on that, we've got a glossary for you. But if you look at these, they're pretty self-explanatory. And if you understand kind of the basics and which ones matter for you, you're going to lean into 2 or 3 of these quite often. For us, it's very much about brand awareness and reach campaigns, top of funnel, post engagement, video views, and messages, middle of funnel, and then traffic and catalog sales at the bottom. We don't run lead generation ads. I find them a bit expensive, but some people absolutely love them, including realtors. But we like to run traffic ads that lead people to a very specific landing page on our website so that it brings it up on their mobile device. There's no other noise on the page. There's no pop-ups. There's not even a nav bar. It's a landing page that we control, and it's got our e-newsletter sign up field or subscribe button on there. So we're not relying on Facebook for lead gen ads, but you should try them out if you think that you'd like to see how they work for your company. Let's look at it from this view. I love this. Bottom line, is our goal kind of cold, warm, or hot? In the cold category, build your brand. Awareness and interest to strangers. Yes, please. Well, the perfect objectives for you might be brand awareness, reach, video views, or maybe even traffic. Get people to your site, get them watching your videos, seeing your intro video or your kind of like brand trailer. In the warm category, what they're suggesting your overarching objective is to make connections. Yes, to get people through the interest and desire stage and to understand who you are and what you're about and fall in love with your brand. So in this case, we can use reach, video views, traffic, but maybe also lead gen, app install ads. If you have an app, you get the idea. And then in the hot category, they're saying overarchingly, you want to drive sales. Conversions, actions, real meaningful actions, not just comments and clicks. So that's where we can have ads that are based on catalog sales, store traffic, conversions, etc. If you need a little bit more explanation about what some of those ad campaign objectives are, here you go. And Facebook, of course, has more information as well if you click on any of them and you need to learn more about what specifically that objective is going to do for you. The other thing to note is that each of these objectives comes with a varying type of KPI, the key performance indicator, or straight up the cost measure. So in the awareness and interest top of funnel ads, we're generally going to see cost per mille. That's M-I-L-L-E, mille, like 1,000 in Latin. So cost per reach of 1,000 people. And that's why it's going to be a CPM of like $1 per 1,000 or $1.13 or $9.45 or whatever. And I like CPMs because I can think to myself, okay, I was just trying to reach 20,000 people on that student campus of marketing grads that I want to come on into my how-to courses after they're finished with their textbook degree. And I know that it costs me $6 to reach 1,000 people with my very well-crafted action-oriented ad or get to know you kind of personality building ad. And that's a great deal, like a smoking deal. When I think it cost me $6 to hand out 1,000 pamphlets or show up in 1,000 people's faces compared to if I really did try to do that in real life with a radio ad or a printed pamphlet or postcard. So CPMs can be really awesome. Another popular is CPC, cost per click. This is what the entire Google Ads platform is built on. There's no such thing as CPM. It's all cost per click. That's why it can be really expensive. Anytime someone clicks on your ad, anytime you're clicking on a Google ad, it's costing that company money, guaranteed. So there's no such thing as just awareness-based, loosey-goosey general ads. In CPC, we aim for whatever is meaningful for you. Maybe it's $1 per click is decent for you because you know that your customer acquisition costs are $1 to $10 based on how much you had to pay to get those ads built or those assets. But that each time you do get someone to your website, 14% of the time they convert on average to being a $400 customer. We can work through all of those formulas, but even just quite simply knowing that in general, we like to aim for $1 per click. We know that that campaign is doing really well for us. And I would pay $1 all day long to get someone to my landing page or my website that I really believe in because I know it's converting at 50%, either to subscribers, buyers, whatever, phone calls. So all of these types of metrics matter, and you're going to quickly see that in the Ads Manager or the analytics after the fact. It'll show you what the results look like, and of course you can adjust those. You can see it a little bit here too. So we're in Ads Manager now, which if we're in Facebook Business Suite, in the home screen, we've got ads kind of right at the bottom there, and I'm immediately taken into Ads Manager. And from there, I click the green button and I start to create my campaign. But back up a step, I can also come back here and look at my campaign performance. And you can see the different categories at the top, and they're all kind of different again based on what the objective of the campaign were. So some are showing me people reached, some are showing me landing page views, some are showing me link clicks, all based on those various objectives. And I can click through and generally see all the different KPIs that I want to on each of those campaigns. But the main one, the results will be based on your objective. So we're going to declare that objective. The very first thing, when you click that green button to create a campaign, before you even name that campaign, what do you want to achieve? And now they've switched over to awareness, consideration, and conversion as the three main buckets or overarching objectives. And that's okay. We now understand what those are, and you can decide accordingly. And then you can name the campaign at this level too. After we've done those two things, naming and objective, we get bumped to that ad set level. And this is where we get to determine the placements, which is pretty cool. So essentially, that big question of, well, where do we want this ad to appear is where we're going to choose the placements, as well as things like where we want them to go from that ad. What's the call to action going to take them to? It's probably a URL, and it's hopefully your website, not somebody else's. The dynamic creative, if we want to provide several different choices for Facebook to choose from. So I've created one ad instead of 6 different ads, and I'm going to allow Facebook to determine or pick one of my 6 headlines and my 6 calls to actions and my 6 ad descriptions, and it's going to mix it all up, and it's going to see what's resonating the most and serve that up to people. I could do the same thing with the imagery. And so that's called dynamic creative, where we're allowing Facebook to optimize the ad based on what's resonating the most and create very creative combinations, if you will. The offer, is that something you're including as like it's an offer ad with a coupon, or it's sort of the call to action there in your copy? You're determining the audience, placements, budget, and schedule, all very self-explanatory. In the budget, we can determine whether we want to spend on a daily basis or a lifetime spend over the course of that ad, whether it's a month or a quarter of a year or whatever it is. Daily spend is usually where we fall, and we do the math on saying, okay, we're going to spend $10 a day here, and that's going to run for 30 days. So we know what we're in for. But you can decide if you want to do it as a lifetime spend instead, and then let Facebook run out of money as fast as it can, or do it on a daily basis. And what'll happen is if you say, I want to spend $10 a day on this ad campaign, and it's a traffic ad, it's going to spend that $10 either slowly over the course of the day or pretty quickly. It's going to try and space it out over the course of the day and serve your ads not quite so frequently. But if a lot of people start resonating with that ad, you might run out of spending halfway through the day. But generally, you'll be able to see that, and Facebook will iterate it a little bit for you so that serving up of your ad is consistent. So when we create the ad set, we've got all of these things kind of served up to us to just fill out and walk our way through, including the daily budget, the placements, the special ad categories, as we mentioned earlier, something to consider or to make sure you tick if in fact you do fall into the category of an employment ad, an election or social issues ad, housing ad, credit, etc. And you'll just have a few fewer choices in your targeting. So the placements, we can choose automatic. Facebook likes to say this is recommended, but sometimes I'll find that when I look at performance after the fact, and I look at it based on platform, Instagram will have hogged most of the budget. And then I think, well, maybe that means that they didn't have enough Instagram ads competing with the Facebook ad inventory, and thus they put it more on Instagram. But I'm sure they would say, no, that's where we thought it would be best performing. So if you want to make sure that it gets seen on Facebook stories or sure that it gets seen on Messenger, you may want to override this and do manual placements. And you may want to also create ads specifically for vertical format and then a campaign specifically for horizontal format. You can also adjust this a bit at the ad set level. It's kind of neat now. They have a cropping tool, or at the ad level, I should say. But either way, it's up to you. Just know that you can happily choose manual placements and perform really well too. Budget and duration, of course, is answering the question of how much, for how long, and for who is it this ad for. And we can do all of that still within the ad set level. And again, we're choosing probably from a saved audience. So you're not going to go and create an audience from scratch right here. You're smarter than that. You've already built it in Audience Manager, and you know that it's for this cold audience or this hot audience. And then, of course, it'll show in the audience definition there how many people are included, which is great. Then the assets and the ads are the final piece of this campaign hierarchy. So this is answering the question, okay, well, what do you want to say? What are your copy and creative assets going to be within this campaign? And this is really fun because it's where we get to choose the identity of our business, how we want it to be represented. The format, is it that single image, carousel, shoppable ad, an instant experience? And then the media. So what type of imagery or animation or GIFs or graphics do we have that we can pull in here or give to Facebook to serve up? And then, of course, the links. So where are they going? And how do we want that to appear? So the single image video carousel or collection is what we get to choose from. And it's all, again, if you look at that little tiny blue section there at the top where it shows us the hierarchy, we've gone from campaign to ad set to ad. And we can name this ad however we like to in our naming conventions. Determine, again, make sure we're putting it on the right Facebook or Instagram page, and then what type of format. And then add that creative and edit it as needed if we needed to crop it or whatever. Okay, so there's our hierarchy. We're going to go into, before we now go build, we're going to back up a bit, as I mentioned in the outline of this course, and talk about the strategy behind each of our ad campaigns and where we implement each. So 2 really important formats that we use at Social School that I can't wait to show you. I will see you in Module 4.